I'm going to turn to today's readings. We have two. The first one comes from Proverbs 4, 1-9. Listen, my sons, to a father's instruction. Pay attention and gain understanding. I give you sound learning, so do not forsake my teaching. For I too was a son to my father, still tender and cherished by my mother. Then he taught me and he said to me, take hold of my words with all your heart. Keep my commands and you will live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget my words or turn away from them. Do not forsake wisdom and she will protect you. Love her and she will watch over you. The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Though it cost all you have, get understanding. Cherish her and she will exalt you. Embrace her and she will honor you. She will give you a garland to grace your head and present you with a glorious crown. The second reading is from Hebrews 12, 4-11. In your struggle against sin, you have not yet resisted to the point of shedding your blood. And have you completely forgotten this word of encouragement that addresses you as a father addresses his son? It says, my son, do not make light of the Lord's discipline. Do not lose heart when he rebukes you. Because the Lord disciplines the one he loves, and he chastens everyone he accepts as a son. Endure hardship as discipline. God is treating you as his children. For what children are not disciplined by their father? If you're not disciplined, and everyone undergoes discipline, then you are not legitimate, not true sons and daughters at all. Moreover, we have all had human fathers who disciplined us, and we respected them for it. How much more should we submit to the Father of spirits and live? They disciplined us for a little while as they thought best, but God disciplines us for our good in order that we may share in his holiness. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it.
Thanks, Sam. And good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here preaching at Principals Hour today. My name is Ben Powell, for those of you that haven't met me, and I'm the director of the Bridge program here at SMBC. Thank you for those muted cheers. Take them to heart. Apologies for what's about to happen. It's really hard for me to not slip into a terrible Scottish accent when I say this, as you'll understand. Some of you will in a moment. Choose life. Choose a job. Choose a career. Choose a family. Choose a big television, washing machines, cars and electrical tin openers. Choose good health, low cholesterol and dental insurance. Choose fixed interest mortgage repayments. Choose a starter home. Choose your friends. Choose leisure wear and matching luggage. Choose DIY and wondering who you are on a Sunday morning. Choose sitting on that couch, watching mind-numbing, spirit-crushing game shows, stuffing junk food into your mouth. Choose rotting away at the end of it all in a miserable home. Nothing more than an embarrassment to the selfish kids you brought up to replace yourself. Choose your future. Choose life. They are, of course, the opening words of the film Trainspotting. 90s classic for those of you that are aware of that, and any devotees of a young Ewan McGregor. It's a raw, kind of cynical look, I guess, at young people trying to escape the boredom and emptiness of modern life through heroin, ultimately. It's the voice of a generation that's kind of looked at the promises of Western comfort, the job, mortgage, the family, the television, and they're asking, is that it? Is that it? Is this what it means to choose life? And it's shocking, for in the choice for heroin, it's really revealing a world that is everything except life itself. It's the question that Proverbs asks of us also. What is it to choose life? To which its consistent answer is simple. To choose wisdom is to choose life, not just for yourself, but for your family. Family. It's mocked as the capstone of the life project in the introduction to Trainspotting. But in Proverbs, it's the vehicle through which life is delivered for generations. Broadly, our theme today that we're going to press into and explore a little further is the relationship between wisdom and family or household. In particular, the role of wisdom in establishing life for the family, that its foundation and supply is for generations, and it's chiefly passed on in Proverbs through instruction and discipline between parents and their children. So firstly, wisdom is life for the family. Now, in our first text in Proverbs 4 shows us that wisdom begins and grows in the home through the instructions of a father to his son. Now, I want to take a quick aside here, if I may, which is important in speaking about families and households in Proverbs. Proverbs often speaks in the voice of a father to his son. Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. We hear in Proverbs 1 verse 8 at the start. And we get this gendered language because it's written into a world where sons would carry the family name and lead the household. But I want you to notice that in 1 verse 8, the mother's voice is there too, and her instruction stands beside the father's. So gender is appropriately separated and different roles are attributed accordingly in other parts of the scriptures. But there's good reason to see Proverbs as speaking to both men and women, sons and daughters in the household. And if I may, I'm going to pick a provocative verse only because Tremper Longman III in his Baker commentary picks it first. He points out in Proverbs 21 verse 9, better to live on a corner of the roof than share a house with a quarrelsome wife. That it can be appropriately applied for women as better to live on the corner of a roof than share a house with a quarrelsome husband. So allow me to press in personally on that one, if I may, just for a moment. If you ever see me on the roof of my household, it is absolutely appropriate to take that stereotypically and assume that I am cleaning the gutters. If you ever see my wife on the roof of our household, please come and have a word with me. Because Ben's got something stuck in his head that he needs to let go of. When we speak of wisdom for the family, this is wisdom for fathers and mothers, sons and daughters, for everyone who will build a house and family that lasts. Okay, so make the appropriate adjustments in this regard for your own circumstances as we go. Back to Proverbs 4. A father says to his son, take hold of my words with all your heart. Keep my commands and you will live. Now, I want you to notice how it's grounded in relationship. It's not an abstract philosophy. It is a father passing on what his own father once taught him. Wisdom is relational. It is generational. And it is life-giving. These words from the Father here appear really closely related to the instructions Moses was to pass on to Israel in Deuteronomy 6 as an outworking of their new life in covenant with God. It's the same pattern that appears there when Moses tells Israel, and I'll read it, "These are the commands, decrees, and laws the Lord your God directed me to teach you, to observe in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess, so that your children and their children after them may fear the Lord your God as long as you live, by keeping all his decrees and commands that I give you, and so that you may enjoy long life." And skipping down to verse 6, "These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down, when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates." See, you can see the connection. These commandments are to be on your hearts, Deuteronomy 6:6. "Take hold of my words with all your heart," Proverbs 4:4. "Keeping all his decrees and commands so that you may enjoy long life, and children to children. Keep my commands and you'll live," in Proverbs 4. As God instructed Israel with truth to be followed, it shouldn't be any surprise for us to see that wisdom really is to live in his way. To choose wisdom is to choose life, not just for yourself, but for your household. The home is the foundational school. It's the first school of wisdom. Verses 7 to 9 in Deuteronomy 6 make that clear. It's not just a personal wisdom. We're not talking about a pursuit of an inner peace to become some kind of wise old master, but wisdom that's meant to be lived out, demonstrated, acted on. It's to be passed on to children. It's to be taught and impressed upon them. It's to be woven into everyday life, whether sitting at home or out on the road. Wisdom, lying down, getting up. These are all markers providing a sort of measure of just the totality of daily life, right? Wisdom on display in the home, wisdom tied on my hands and forehead, telling others, myself, I've chosen life. I'm following God. I choose his wisdom. And wisdom on display for the community, visible on the door frame of my house and on the external gates for everyone walking by. This family has chosen, this household has chosen to follow the wisdom of God for life. Proverbs pictures this wisdom as the foundation of a lasting home. So we read in Proverbs 9 verse 1, wisdom has built her house. And 24 verse 3, by wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it's established. So the family that builds on wisdom is the family that's chosen life. But secondly, just as families are generational, so is wisdom. Then when we build on wisdom, we lay a foundation for life across generations. We read in Proverbs 17:6, children's children are a crown to the aged, and parents are the pride of their children. This general truth here is that the grandchildren in families that live by wisdom are a crown, right? They're an honor to their grandparents. Children raised in the way of wisdom honor their parents. Or Proverbs 22 verse 6, start children off on the way they should go, and even when they're old, they will not turn from it. The parent that lays down a foundation of wisdom for their children is giving them a path for life. Now, we know they're not promises, not guarantees in the wisdom genre. I have no doubt that we can think of examples where it seemed like the parents tried to lay a pretty good foundation of wisdom And it hasn't resulted in children always honouring them or always walking the right path. It's not a promised outcome. It's not without exceptions. But it is the wise choice. And I'd want to add, because I don't know everyone's personal family context here. It can change. This choice can change families. I know on my mother's side of the family, as new migrants to Australia in the 1950s, it was my auntie who first came to faith in Australia. My mum soon followed. Her brother would follow. And my grandparents, Uma and Upa, followed after them. My family speaks of my Upa as a harsh, belligerent kind of man. I've only ever known him as just the sweetest, tender-hearted, loving man. So I want to say generational change can begin now for the one that sets their family on the path of wisdom. Wisdom that begins with the fear of the Lord. Okay, wisdom brings life to the family. Wisdom supplies for the generations. But let me try and get a little more practical, because after all, wisdom's meant to be lived out. How do families actually do that? How do we cultivate wisdom? Well, wisdom is passed on through instruction and discipline in Proverbs. It's our third point. Wisdom doesn't just happen. It's taught through loving correction. In the book of Proverbs, discipline. It's how a family chooses life together across generations. And my guess is that the word discipline may not evoke happy or fond memories. Perhaps sadly, it's because at times it's been used as cover for nothing more than angry outbursts, selfish desires that are more abusive than correcting. And while discipline doesn't have to be physical, there's no escaping its physical symbol throughout Proverbs. The rod. The rod could be like a shepherd's staff or a scepter. And it functions in Proverbs as an instrument really of parental authority for correction. So Proverbs 13 verse 24 reads, "Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them." Or Proverbs 23 verses 13 to 14, "Do not withhold discipline from a child. If you punish them with the rod, they will not die. Punish them with the rod and save them from death." These Proverbs tell us that discipline is love, right? It's setting the child's feet on the path of wisdom for life. More than that, to fail to discipline is to leave them on the path of folly, which leads to death. Proverbs 22 verse 15 tells us, "Folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline drives it far away." So the author of Hebrews speaks of the manner in which God disciplines his children, inviting reflection, therefore, and comparison as he goes between how God, as his heavenly Father, is disciplining his children and the manner in which we as human parents can carry it out. We read that a little earlier in Hebrews 12. As the goal of discipline in Proverbs is establishing a child's footing on the path of wisdom for life, in a similar manner in Hebrews, it's expressed as producing a harvest of righteousness and peace. And that's a wonderful thing. That is wonderful. It's what we want for our children and their children, right? A harvest of righteousness and peace, life for generations. So we're exhorted to not make light of God's discipline. And the author of Hebrews uses a quote from Proverbs 3, verses 11 to 12. My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline and do not resent his rebuke, because the Lord disciplines those that he loves. But we get into trouble if we rush to the rod alone for discipline and don't also see the clear distinction between God and human parents as disciplinarians here. See, with God, we can be sure it's good. You see the words in Hebrews here? With humans, I think at best we can assume they're trying their best. It's a big difference. With God, we see limitless love, gentleness, patience, tenderness for his people. With humans, I'm sure we've seen in areas of discipline, we're often marked by weakness and sin. In God, we have a wonderful, safe and sure model of a disciplinarian. In humanity, discipline sometimes can be little more than just shameful weakness that is weaponized. Lashing out when tired. A sharp response that creates confusion or fear. The answer to this challenge cannot be to withhold discipline, for the consequences are too great. A loving parent disciplines because they want their child to find life. A foolish parent, Proverbs warns, ignores folly until it destroys them. Proverbs 19, verse 18, discipline your children, for in that there is hope. Do not be a willing party to their death. So recently I was a part of a small group where the question was asked, what's the hardest part of disciplining your children? Or the greatest challenge? We were discussing it. I couldn't help but immediately think, am I wrong? Am I misunderstanding something? But it came to mind anyway. What's the hardest part about disciplining your children? It's me. It's not a strong-willed child. It's not a particular behavioural struggle, though sometimes those can be difficult, genuinely. But I think Hebrews 12 calls me to consider myself as the problem in light of God's perfect discipline of me. As a parent, I know I'm vulnerable when tired. I become self-focused. And it's not hard to see how discipline can quickly become unrestrained, or it can be inconsistent. So I want to encourage us all today. Hebrews 12 is first of all for me and for you. It is useful to explain the necessity and the benefits of discipline. But in the first instance, it's a reminder to welcome the discipline of God in our own life. The parent that seeks to discipline their child with wisdom is to be a parent that is themselves open to and familiar with the discipline of their Heavenly Father. Let me wrap this up and move towards a conclusion then. Okay, so wisdom gives life for the family. Wisdom supplies for generations, and wisdom is passed on through instruction and discipline in the family. Let me go full circle and come back to where we started then. What is it to choose this life? To choose to build our house on wisdom? You see, because the world still says choose life, but it means something different. Often it means choose yourself. Often it means choose comfort. Choose whatever feels good. The world offers its wisdom, but for the book of Proverbs, it's calling it out simply as folly. Folly looks easy, exciting, self-made. It is enticing often throughout Proverbs, but it ends in emptiness and death. So at the end of Proverbs 9, after wisdom has built her house and invited people in, we get an insight into folly's house also. Folly sits at the door of her house, calling out, "Come to my house." But little do they know that the dead are there, that her guests are deep in the realm of the dead. Proverbs leaves us with choices to make. Life or death, wisdom or folly. Wisdom isn't imposed. Wisdom's not imposed. It's taught. It's instructed. It's impressed upon. But ultimately, wisdom must be chosen. Hence the urging of the Father to his Son, listen. Take hold of my words with all your heart. Keep my commands and you will live. I'm pretty sure this won't launch a Hollywood career like Ewan McGregor's after Train Spotting. But from our scriptures today, I think a proverbial opening monologue more like this might secure the life we're after and the house and family that wisdom builds. Choose life. Choose wisdom. Take hold of her words with all your heart. Keep her commands and you will live. Though it cost you all you have, get understanding. Choose to build your house on understanding, not ambition. Choose to love your spouse with faithfulness, not convenience. Choose to raise your children with discipline, not neglect. Choose faith that your children will remember and your grandchildren will repeat. Choose the fear of the Lord. That's where wisdom starts. Choose life for yourself, for your family, for generations yet to come. Amen.